the HEHE series. That's right, I am reviewing all 24 maps. Technically there's 23 of them, but HEHE 23 is just some bug fixes and improvements to HEHE 3. Let me get this out of the way before I start with HEHE 1 or number 1. If you're planning to play the HEHE series or continuing where you left off, make sure the difficulty is on normal. Why normal? Well, you see, HEHE likes to throw bullshit at your face and expects you to be okay with it. Like what? Well, I don't know, maybe like having a tank spawn on top of you. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them at once. Maybe even 6 tanks spawn right behind you as soon as you leave spawn, or even 12. Do you really want to deal with that in Expert, where the tanks can one-shot you, leaving you to die and forcing you to restart the whole level, and there's no checkpoints as well? Well, I would say 96% of the levels don't have checkpoints. Well, you'd think maybe putting it on advance is better. Well, at least you have a fighting chance before you get surrounded by scripted hordes, special infected, more tanks, RNG witches combined with tanks. Not only that, but we also have to deal with the death pits or death zones, traps, dead ends, parkour, the environment, water, drowning in water, fog. The list keeps going and going. Just put it on normal. Sure, you may rage quit a few times, or stop playing Left 4 Dead because you had enough of this bullshit. But hey, it won't be as bad as playing it on Expert or Advance. But what do I know? It's not like I played 1 through 7 on Expert and the rest on normal. Wait, that's right. I played all 24 of them, so you don't have to. Seriously, don't play the HEHE series, because it's the most difficult series you'll ever play, and you will regret it. I won't be going over every level and describe every little detail. I'll be skipping over them, or in other words, avoid talking about them. Because the level was boring, uninteresting, waste of time, break levels, or nothing chaotic really happened. The first HEHE I played was on HEHE 15 on Expert. HEHE 15, 3 out of 10. I was not ready for this chaos. I didn't expect any of this to happen in the first level. I played on shitty maps before, where they make it unfair and difficult to beat, but this is something else, and nothing can prepare you for this shit. Anyways, once you leave spawn, 4 tanks will spawn right behind you. You can choose to fight them or run into the building. When interacting with the door, a witch spawns right behind you and 4 tanks in front of you of the safe room. And there's a bunch of logs in front of them as well. Closing the door is not an option because every time you interact with the door, they will just respawn because of it. The next level, which is level 2, leaving the safe zone, will trigger 8 witches to spawn in front of you. After that, 3 tanks will spawn right behind you, forcing us to rush down the stairs, thus triggering a horde and a hidden pit in front of the safe room. Level 4 right off the bat is a never-ending horde, and the objective is to turn off the alarm. In doing so, 2 tanks spawn right behind me. This is the kind of bullshit I'm talking about. Anyways, go back at spawn to close the safe room door. I don't know what was the point of that if I'm just gonna go back into the safe room I spawned in. This honestly felt like a waste of time. HEHE 1, 3 out of 10. The first level was actually fun, just rush into the safe room expecting some sort of chaos, but this was pretty tame compared to 15. There's 3 portals to choose from, and anyone left at spawn will be greeted with a tank. Anyone who died in the previous level will not respawn in the second one. That's right, that is fucking gay. Where in your mind did you think that was a great idea? What other map creator thinks that this is a good idea? I'll answer it for you. Fucking nobody. If you think this only happens on this map, you're wrong. It happens in some of the other maps as well, and that's fucking gay. It also gets annoying having to quit and restart the lobby. Anyway, stay on the train until it completely stops. Then get teleported to activate all 3 buttons, but each door contains a tank. HEHE 2. 5 out of 10. The first level is just a holdout until the gate opens and just make a run for it. The second level had some level of effort and it's much better than the first. There is some fun to have. The hallway forcing you to move at light speed while being hunted down by the tank. It doesn't stop there. After exiting out of the portal, your speed goes back to normal, but you still have to run because the tank is chasing you down. Of course, you can kill it, but 2 or 3 more spawn ahead, so it's best off to run. Later in the level, you have RNG with the scripted spawns. That's it. Next level is a parkour section with scripted spawns and held out. HEHE 3. 2 out of 10. Level 1 was pretty fun. One thing I didn't like was how long the level was. Second level, we couldn't finish the level because it kept on crashing near the end of the level. Look, you will have some problems with lag in other maps as well. And it didn't help that the level was laggy in latency. Something was happening in the map that caused it to lag, thus causing the host to lag, then everyone else lag. How do you fix it? Well, just play single player to avoid this problem. Or you could just bear with it until you beat the level. What about the other levels? The rest of them look atrocious, and it was intentional to be that way. This is a common thing with these maps. If I were to rate this whole series based on design, it would get a 1 out of 10. HEHE 4. 3 out of 10. Once you leave spawn, you have about half a second before 4 tanks spawn right behind you. Well, 0.6 seconds to be exact. Do you think that's fair? No? Good. That's the point. It's not supposed to be fair at all. And none of this makes any sense. That's the HEHE series in a nutshell. Confusing, unfair, brutal. The creator will do everything that he can to make sure the map pisses you off. Then comes the square spiral. You'll be seeing this kind of level in other maps. Anyways, you're in the center of the spiral and your objective is to get out, survive the waves of tanks. It seems pretty simple enough. When you leave spawn, maybe up to 8 tanks spawn behind, and they will continue to spawn all over the level as you progress. They spawn right behind, on top, or in front. Maybe two out of 3 will happen at the same time. Not only you have to worry about the tanks, but them throwing rocks, logs, props, special infected that spawns, random zombies, hordes that happen once in a while, RNG witches, getting stuck between the logs, and whether or not the ground is slippery. Now of course, if you fall off or slide off the spiral, there is a chance that you will die or be teleported back at spawn, depending on the level. If there is teleportation, then any props and any tanks that fall off will go at spawn. Why am I telling you this? Just to give you an idea of what you're dealing with. On this level, it was slippery and there was logs with no teleportation. Next level, just level 3. It fucks with your render distance. Now that's it. Go from point A to point B. You'll see this kind of mechanic used in other maps. HEHE 4 is the mark where all of the chaos started to skyrocket, meaning that this is where the difficulty starts to ascend. HEHE 5, 4 out of 10. The beginning of the second level was pretty tough. Fighting 2 tanks in a small area is not a great idea, especially on expert. Level 3 is very long and it takes place in a train station. Then after going through the buildings, then comes the maze. expect half the team dead by the time you reach the safe room. Level 4 has you boarding on the train, fight your way through the train. This level is by far one of the most annoying levels because the objectives aren't highlighted and you have to backtrack all the way back to spawn for one of the objectives. The first one spawns a horde. The second one spawns 1 or 2 tanks. There's not a whole lot of weapons to go around, which makes it worse. A handful of supplies that won't last long towards the end, and a tank that spawns near the safe room. Anyways, the 5th level kept on making the host crash for no reason. We didn't choose a different host, we just skipped it. But for the sake of this video, I went ahead and played the level to see whether or not it would crash. It works just fine. Anyways, the level is pretty long towards the end. It gets strange and it's really out of place. The finale was pretty fun, having to drop down to platform after platform while being chased down by tanks that can punch you off to your death. It's very short and easy to beat. HEHE 6, 4 out of 10. First level is in the town and it's foggy, and it gets worse when a storm comes. You start off with pistols and there's no other weapons. Be careful where you shoot because some of these cars have alarms. Not only that, there is a couple of tanks you have to kill. Second level is a maze filled with water on ice with a parkour section right after that. Ice and parkour do not mix well. You will slide off to your death. Level 3 is another maze, but with fog and one puzzle. That puzzle requires you to find the safe room. But in order to do so, you have to step on crosses to be randomly teleported around the level and possibly be killed by tanks. But wait, you don't have to do that. You just need to find the safe room. Level 6 is a tank arena. Kill 2 tanks and go to the safe room. But once you touch the door, anyone who is far away from the door will have 4 or 5 tanks spawn near them. Level 7 can be a bit difficult, and the opening gates will spawn a never-ending horde until you reach a certain point. Then 3 tanks spawn once you press the button. At least the ground isn't made out of ice this time. If you haven't noticed by now, I skipped over some levels because they're not worth mentioning. The level was too easy, boring, uninteresting, stupid at times, nothing chaotic happened, a break level, or a standard point A to point B. I'm not going over every level and talk about every single detail. HEHE 7, 2 out of 10. Still an expert for some reason. Second level is one of the most confusing levels I've ever played. It's a parkour section with tanks, logs, and low gravity. Climb all the way up to have a tank spawn and throw a log at you. And hopefully you don't go down, and don't even bother killing the tanks. They'll just respawn. If you do, the opening window is so small you can't even get past the 3rd platform without dying or get downed. When you do get far enough, more tanks spawn when you get to the low gravity part. You can skip half the level and walk into the safe room without any trouble. I'm not sure if the creator intended for us to do that or not. 4th level is the spiral on ice again with teleportation, and any small progress we made always spawns a tank. You think we're supposed to make a run for it. We died several times. Then we tried using each other as meat shields. That also failed. And run and gun, synchronized movements while using each other as meat shields. Hold out and fight, tried stumbling the tanks, sacrificing one of us to get their attention to buy us more time, and also tried setting the tanks on fire. All of that failed because we were making it worse by spawning tanks across the level. You think at this point we've learned that this series isn't meant to be played on expert at all? But no, we didn't learn our lesson. I'm not saying it's impossible, it is beatable, but why would you continue playing this on Expert, knowing full well that this series is trying to piss off the player in every way that it can?
I like a challenge.
Ah, a challenge, which means the enemies do 10 million damage, which is basically one shot. Then why not put it on Expert Realism if you like a challenge? I'm gonna put you in a scenario. 3 of your teammates are dead, and you're the last one alive. A tank spawns in front of you, and you manage to juke the tank. But you get hit by a rock from a random tank that's 5 miles away. Because this is on Expert, you immediately go down, and you have to restart the whole level again, and there's no checkpoints. Does that sound fair? If you answered no, then congratulations. You have more than 5 brain cells. Anyways, we eventually beat it just by killing the tanks one by one and baiting them out. Then we made it to the finale, which was the next level. We just wanted to get this over with and never touch HEHE 7 ever again. I could tell that they were gonna need a long break from Left 4 Dead 2. A long break, I said. I didn't expect them to stop playing or to quit Left 4 Dead 2 entirely, all because of HEHE 7. It did a number on my 2 friends. It pushed them over the line. When I brought up the series, they straight up refused to complete it. They would rather play any other map than continue with the HEHE series, or refuse to launch the game, all because it was too difficult. I like a challenge. You know, I did wait for them until they feel like playing the HEHE series, but it never happened. So then I decided to finish it myself. Of course, I didn't make it far until I had some help from my other friends. Anyways, I did 8 through 13 on my own. Believe me, you don't want to do this on your own, because in some levels you will hit a brick wall to the point where you absolutely need teammates to complete it. HEHE 8. 1 out of 10. Second level seems impossible on your own. You need at least 1 teammate with you. It starts you off with a pistol if you choose to start off on level 2, and if you continue from level 1, anybody that died will not be with you in the safe room and won't have the ability to teleport to you. This is a major problem with the series. I don't know where the creator got this idea from, but it's fucking retarded. Why is this still a thing? Sometimes they're dead off the bat, or if the level glitches out, it just kills them. Even though they survived the previous level, it's very annoying to have to restart the level from the lobby. This gimmick should be removed. You spawn with 1 pistol, and you only get 2 after you fail the level. Special infected can't spawn in the safe room. Bots don't follow you out of the safe room as well, and they will refuse to follow you or teleport to you until you reach certain spots on the map. They will not teleport to you even if you go down. Once you trigger the event, anyone left in the safe room will die immediately. After finishing the event, you have to complete a parkour section without finishing it. Don't pick up any medical supplies, because they would explode on the spot. Pick up the defib if the tanks don't spawn. You have to do the parkour again until they do. Then jump back where you came from. You can't jump forward because there's an invisible wall blocking the way. Going back to the first event, go to the other route. You can't go this way unless you've picked up that defib and defeated the tanks. Yeah, a charger spawns behind you. Charges you off the platform, and the charger killed me. The bots couldn't kill him because they still have pistols and shit accuracy. The 2 jockeys, they don't do anything besides distracting the player. After with that bullshit, you have to climb up, but you can't climb all the way up because there is an invisible wall or invisible ceiling. See those platforms? You have to go on them and interact with the items before proceeding forward. And of course, kill the scripted special infected that spawn in front of you on the other platform. The bots just teleport to you whenever you're climbing and fall to their depths. Once you've climbed all the way up, a bunch of witches will spawn in front of you and 2 chargers right behind you. And that's what happened to me. Keep in mind, there's no checkpoints whatsoever. So that means you have to go through all of that bullshit again. You know that second area that you're supposed to complete with the parkour? Yeah, that didn't work for me. The visible wall was still there because I used up the defib, but also killed the tanks as well. That should automatically remove the invisible wall, but it didn't. And I refused to complete this level. Level 4. A parkour section with a twist. When starting the parkour, 2 tanks spawn in the safe room. Don't worry, they can't get out. There's plenty of medical supplies just in case you fall, and you will numerous of times. Then you have to jump across to only hit an invisible wall and fall to your death. After that, it teleports everybody into a new room where a tank spawns. Kill the tank, and that's the end for that level. Note, this is the first level in the series that used a checkpoint. You can't reach the checkpoint just by killing yourself at the beginning of the level. Level 5 is a maze puzzle. Go on the wrong square and you'll be teleported back, and a horde will spawn with 3 or 4 special infected, and the bots do follow you, which makes it worse. Then a tank spawns when interacting with the safe room door. Level 6 is pretty much a chore to beat. It gives you pistols at the beginning and 1 medkit. When you pass a certain point, then you have to fight through a never-ending horde. What is this? Reaching the safe room door does not stop them. It's basically trial and error because you'll die a lot trying to reach the safe room. Then you have to find and activate a button. But don't do that. Instead, find all 20 gas cans scattered around the level. Gather them up onto the roof next to the generator. Press the button. Now a bunch of witches will spawn and you'll fight tank after tank after tank until you fill the generator. Then wait 90 seconds and go back to spawn to the roof. It just teleports you into a room. That's it. No ending animation, no credits. HEHE 9, 2 out of 10. First level, 8 tanks at the beginning, 4 behind and 4 in front. Hold out or an event, 1 tank spawns inside of the elevator. Barely any of the bots survive to the elevator and leaving you alone with the tank. I straight up skipped this. I'm not even going to bother finishing that level. Third level is a maze and a bunch of tanks spawn right behind you. Now of course you could take plan A, stay and fight, or plan B, just run. Obviously I took plan B, and in doing so I had some enjoyment. Desperately finding a way out of this maze and encountering more tanks along the way. Thanks to the map creator for making sure that the water doesn't slow you down. Otherwise I would have hated this part of the level, because if a tank punches me into the water, I'm screwed. There is a chance that a witch or a tank spawns throughout the maze, so be careful when heading into a direction. After that, you'll have to do an event that spawns a never-ending horde. At that point, your bots are as good as dead, or should be dead by that point. So after dying, you'll spawn at the other safe room, which left me in confusion. What was the point of that then, if I'm just gonna spawn to the other safe room once I die? Now of course, I went downstairs to check out if there was anything else I missed. I regretted that decision because as soon as I opened the door, 4 or 5 tanks spawned right on top of me. It didn't force me to do the whole level again. Now that I think about it, I was supposed to complete a parkour section before interacting with that door and heading upstairs. but I wasn't going to find out nor do the whole level again. The first part of the level was good, I had some fun, but the rest of it was bad. The finale, it was a gauntlet, rush to the radio in the cabin. Along the way you'll find a couple of gas cans highlighted, which indicates a generator needs to be filled by gas cans. But there was nothing like that. But a lot of tanks spawned once I activated the radio in the cabin. After that, you had to activate the radio one more time. Now, you might be thinking it will just spawn a bunch of tanks again, but no, the boat arrives. You also think about the gas cans needed to be brought onto the boat in order for you to escape. But no, the gas cans are just highlighted for no reason other than to use them on tanks. The bots had some trouble getting on the boat. By bots, I mean Bot Rochelle. She refused to get on board, and so I did the only thing that seemed reasonable. I shot down Rochelle, and I escape. HEHE 10. 3 out of 10. 2 tanks spawn in the center of the safe room. Once the button has been pressed, then one more behind a brick wall. Then climb all the way up to face a horde of zombies. And hopefully you don't trigger 2 tanks at once. The red buses can move if a tank chooses to punch them, and they also trigger hordes if you shoot them. This level, you're not supposed to run up ahead. That would trigger every tank. You're supposed to lure them out one by one. Yes, you can try fighting 3 at the same time. Also, there's police vehicles and logs they can throw at you. And towards the end of the level, there's a bunch of tanks hiding behind a couple of trees. So do be careful, because all of them can be triggered at the same time if you choose to rush up ahead. Level 3 is the spiral again, but with parkour in the mix. When I left spawn, 8 or 9 tanks spawn right behind me, and 2 smokers spawn. This happens every time I left spawn. And if you fall off, you'll be teleported back at spawn. And same goes for the tanks. Maybe you'll get a witch to spawn, maybe not. The more progress I made, the more tanks spawn. By the way, there's no invisible walls, so if you're lucky, you can make a tank punch you so far to the point where you hit a checkpoint and break the scripted spawns. And a tank spawns in the safe room when it opens. HEHE 11. 4 out of 10. The first level is a spiral, again, on ice. But this time, I'm at the very end of the spiral, and I have to make my way to the center. There is a chance that a tank will spawn ahead of you and ultimately kill you. There's also zombies that get in the way, and also have a chance of spawning a horde in front, behind, top, or inside of you. It's a good thing there's no special infected. If you wait too long in spawn, a horde spawns, and once you leave, there's no going back to spawn because it's absolutely a waste of time. Second level, tank spawns right in front of me as soon as I step out of spawn. After dealing with those tanks, guess what? There's more tanks, but they're far away. Then I had to kill a ton of witches that were blocking the way, and some of them do have low HP. Some of them don't. Next is some weird platform minigame that will strip your weapons away. You have to get hit in order to make the platform move forward, otherwise you die in one place. Thank goodness they gave you a bunch of pills, but as soon as I make it, there was an invisible wall blocking the path, and the way to get rid of it was to kill every tank that spawned with mere pistols. I died trying, and I'm not going through that level again. The fourth level is a gauntlet, but there is no need to rush. One area of the platform in the beginning can push you off and kill you. That didn't kill me in my first try, but it did in the second. To avoid this, just crouch walk, and going the wrong path will kill you. There's no respawn closets, so don't die. The bots randomly get stuck and have trouble following and teleporting to you, and special infected spawn randomly all over the level at a fast pace, meaning that they have fast respawns. At certain points, tanks will spawn right in front of you, and these tanks have a lot of HP, so bring Molotov and some fire rounds. I also recommend bringing Diggles with you because you will run out of ammo. I died so many times and I had to restart the level through the lobby because the bots didn't know where to go once I died. It was at that point I tried something else, or try to find a script that enables me to take control over a bot once I died. So I can't finish this without restarting the whole level. Eventually, I did find the command, and that was SB_ take control. In order for this to work, you have to have the server SV cheats 1 on. But you can't do that unless you boot up the server with the map name and level. No, I'm not talking about doing it through the lobby. This could be possible through the console. Why do you have to do that? Don't you restart the level once you die? Yes, well, not with my script. Bots can continue without me when I'm dead, and try to finish the level, but that doesn't work with this series. When you get to the parkour section, a lot of specials will spawn, so keep an eye out for them. After that, there's a gauntlet with a maze, and a bunch of tanks will drop down from the escape zone. I apologize for this interruption. You just watched part 1 out of 2 of my review for the HEHE series. But don't worry, part 2 has been uploaded already for you to watch, if you're interested.